Hello, warm greetings on this World Hypertension Day. I am Archisman Mahapatra from Grid Council and taking this opportunity to moderate this fantastic panel that we have today, experts from WHO Country Office India. So we are doing a project. Professor Sangeeta Kansal from Banaras Hindu University is leading that project, and I am the co-PI, and we have named it as Project Reach Hypertension. And through this project, we are exploring different emerging evidence on non-communicable diseases with a focus on hypertension and diabetes. We are synthesizing evidence and all those anecdotal experiences that are coming up in view of the pandemic. So as part of the project, we happen to interact with the WHO Country Office team. Dr. Fikru Tullu's team. Dr. Fikru is the team leader for NCDs at WHO Country Office India. And we had a discussion, very enriching discussion a couple of days back. And that discussion also had Dr. Pradeep Joshi, who is the National Professional Officer, Non-Communicable Diseases, WHO Country Office, and he provides technical support to national and state governments for prevention and control of major NCDs. So Dr. Joshi is MD Community Medicine and alumni of KGMU, Lucknow. Welcome, sir, for this discussion today. That day we also had, and today again we have Dr. Abhishek Kunwar. So Dr. Kunwar is a National Professional Officer for Cardiovascular Diseases, and he's also the focal person for India Hypertension Control Initiative, and he supports collaborative implementation of the project at national and state levels, and he gives technical and implementation support to the project. He is, again, a medical doctor, and he has done NCD fellowship from the ICMR CDC collaboration. So welcome, sir, for today's panel. And this will be a set of two presentations by our panelists today, followed by concluding remarks by Professor Sangeeta Kansal, who is the formerly head of the department and currently a professor at Department of Community Medicine, Banaras Hindu University, Institute of Medical Sciences. And she is also in charge of quarantining for the COVID-19 pandemic at BHU, and also looks after vaccination. So I will be supported by my colleague, Dr. Kavita, who is the lead program coordinator at Grid Council, and she'll be doing the rapporteur work. So as we all know that the COVID-19 pandemic has forced us to rethink our strategies to health systems. And non-communicable diseases are risk factors for bad outcomes in COVID-19. And India has had a relatively less understanding of controlling NCDs, but there have been efforts in recent years. Last year, as we went into this pandemic, the NCD programs got affected, and access issues, identification and management, those issues, continuum of care, those issues came up. But then gradually states have made much effort to come out of it, and some revival has been there, some learning has been there. So the way we have designed today's discussion is that we'll give a background to how the situation was, what were the key hypertension and diabetes related findings from the National NCD Monitoring Survey that was conducted by ICMR NCDIR 2017-18, followed by what have been the recent interventions by Government of India for NCDs. So Dr. Pradeep Joshi will be taking us through these findings with the help of a PPT, a presentation. And then we have a presentation from Dr. Abhishek Kunwar on the India Hypertension Control Initiative and continuity of care during COVID-19, and concluding remarks by Dr. Kansal. So without further delay, I would request Dr. Pradeep for his presentation on key hypertension and diabetes related findings from NNMS 2017-18 and government initiatives for NCDs. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Archisman. And meanwhile, I'm just sharing my screen. I will just like to share about the prevalence of hypertension in the country, and from the recent survey findings. Every third, 3 out of 10 adults above 18 years of age is suffering from high blood pressure, and that is quite high. And the number of people although the prevalence is common among men and women, but the prevalence is very high among the urban area as compared to the rural area. And the more concern is the prevalence of the pre-hypertension is almost 40%, and this has been well documented in the National NCD Monitoring Survey, which was done by the ICMR, and WHO was also one of the technical partner in that survey. So with this background, I would just touch on because this is World Hypertension Day, and the awareness, treatment, and control of raised blood pressure is quite important. And the screen which is in front of you shows about the health-seeking behavior and management indicator of key indicator of hypertension. You will be surprised to know that only 50% of total population which was surveyed in their lifetime measured their blood pressure or got an opportunity to go to the clinic and have their blood pressure measured. Out of that, only 41% have measured their blood pressure in last 12 months. And further segregation among male and female, if you see the BP measurement, which is more in female as compared to the male, the 45% of the female got their blood pressure measured in last 12 months. But out of that, the blood pressure was measured, and in the survey where there is a known hypertensive patients, only 34% of the female are aware about their raised BP. And the figure is quite low for the male, which is only 24.2%. And if we go further down about the medication they are receiving for last 2 weeks, it's quite low in the male. It's around only 12% and around 20% in the female. And the main aim of any treatment medication is having the BP under control. So among the raised blood pressure individuals found in the survey, only 10.5% of the male were having control rate and 14.4% of the female were having the control rate. So in other words, you can say almost 40% of the individuals who are knowing their blood pressure and aware about their blood pressure are having the control rate of blood pressure, and that is quite striking. And the other one, and it gives an indirect indication that the access to the medicine and adherence to the medicine is a key challenge in the blood pressure control. And this is all about 30 to 69 year age group. This is segregated into male and female, but overall, if I have to give the figure, it is 25% of the individuals are known about their blood pressure, and out of that, only 12% have BP under control. If we further segregate by the area of residence, the picture is almost like, again, like what we have seen in male, female. Also in the area of residence, the same picture is there. Urban individuals are more aware about their raised blood pressure, and but the striking difference here is that in the rural people, the BP control was higher as compared to the urban people. And if you see here, the person who are taking medication, most of them have the control rate. Like that is quite a good finding among the rural people, which is there. So further going to in the National NCD Monitoring Survey, what was the consultation and treatment among the known raised blood pressure, it was quite surprising to find that only less than 18% of people of known blood pressure are taking consultation from allopathic practitioner in the public sector. And this was rural and urban figures were quite same. There was no much difference among them. But if you come to the taking treatment in the from where they are getting the medication, the last medication, only around 10% are taking from the public sector, out of which 11% are from urban and 10% from the rural area, and the rest of them, most of them, are taking either from the chemist or NGO dispensary or the private sector. This was the key findings, and this is all about 30 to 69-year age group. So what government is doing? So government have taken quite new initiatives for the common NCDs, and one of which is the universal screening of the entire population above 30 years of age. And this was launched in 2016 in the National NCD Summit, where all person about 30 years of age group were targeted to screen for 5 common conditions: hypertension, diabetes, and 3 common cancer. And this was to be done through trained frontline worker. The ASHAs and ANM and the medical officers were trained, and a standard treatment protocol was developed along with the referral and the continuity of the care. By December 2020, it is being approximately implemented in more than 480 districts, and it is now an integral part of the health and wellness center. So the overall aim of the population-based screening was better management of the diseases, so we can have early screening and putting them on the treatment, so the complications and the other things can be delayed. The overall morbidity and mortality due to the common NCDs can be prevented or under control. And the other important part of the population-based screening is about raising awareness about this risk factor, the common risk factor for the NCDs. Just taking you how this population-based NCD screening works, and most of our audience may be aware of that. So it is a continuum of care where ASHA or a multi-purpose worker does a population enumeration, go house to house, and with the community-based screening checklist, there is a risk assessment. And during that risk assessment, if there is any risk factor which she found, if there is a counseling provision is also there. And based on the risk assessment, she referred the person to the first level of care, which is the sub-center, or at present time is also known as a health and wellness center. So in that health and wellness center, the screening of blood pressure measurement or blood glucose measurement and the common NCD screening can be done. This health and wellness center or sub-center are also part of the drug dispensation, and they keep record. And the important component which has been envisaged is the tele-consultation provision. So the person can call the ANM and take the necessary consultation from the ANM. And if in the screening, if there are values above the cutoff level, the person is being referred to the primary health center for the confirmation of the diagnosis, where the prescription and the treatment and the drug dispensing is done. Also, there is a provision of teleconsultation, and if there are any complication, it has been referred to the higher CSC level. So there is a referral as well as a back referral phenomena in the population-based NCD screening. These were the guidelines. If our audience are interested in going more into the detail of the NCD screening guidelines, they can refer to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare website and find more information about the population-based NCD screening. To ensure that population-based screening is happening and the real-time monitoring is happening, Government of India, in collaboration with other partners, including NHSRC, ICMR, AIMS, WHO, Tata Trust, and Dell Health Initiative, they have developed a CPSC NCD software, which is in a way is a continuum of services provided right from the ASHA to the district level, and step-by-step referral, and every step the person perform their relative whatever is being envisaged from them and refer to the next level. So there are 6 applications which are currently running. One is ASHA mobile app, where the population enumeration and the risk assessment is being done. ANM tablet app, where the screening is being done and the information is being captured and referral being done to the medical officer. And there is a medical officer app as well as the district hospital app, where you do the further referral and the case management. There is also health official dashboard and administrator portal, where you can also monitor what is happening in the particular area. The new phenomena which has been added is the clinical decision support system into the system, which is about for the hypertension and diabetes. And it is also working out for interoperability with the existing software. As you are all aware, there are state level applications, so interoperability is required. And to motivate the frontline workers for the follow-up, there is an incentive system also introduced by the government. So there is also provision of tracking those incentives. But there is another finding which I would like to highlight to our audience. What is the availability of essential technologies and medicines, especially in terms of hypertension and cardiovascular diseases at our primary healthcare facilities? So if you see the essential technologies, which we refer to the blood pressure measurement machine, BP equipment, digital equipment or manual equipment, a weighing scale, stethoscope or stadiometer, it is only available in the 60% of the facilities which were surveyed in the National Monitoring Survey. And about the medicine, which my colleague Dr. Abhishek will touch on that, the availability of the medicine for the hypertension and other cardiovascular disease is even lower. Only 24%, or you can say 25% of the rural health facilities were having this availability of essential medicines, and around 37% of the urban centers were having the availability of the medicines. So this was a quite a brief snapshot. What are the different parameters related to the hypertension and the findings from the National NCD Monitoring Survey. And I thank you again for listening to me, and thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That was really very crisp, but yet it connects evidence to programmatic action. And clearly some improvements have been there. But going forward with this, from this COVID-19 pandemic, we know that much of our population is afflicted by the disease. And these surveys have been proposed to be done from time to time. We know that NMS, and we also know the recently concluded LASI also intends to be repeated every 2 years or so. What is your feeling about the variables or the assessments or measurements that we may think of incorporating in future NCD surveys?
Definitely, and Archisman, that is very relevant question which you have raised. And it is quite evident now that the people with this NCD comorbidities, which we call hypertension or diabetes or chronic respiratory diseases or even cancer, are at the greater risk of morbidity and mortality due to the COVID infection. So there are provision which the government have done. If you have seen the death investigation form as well as the case investigation form which the government of India has developed, there is a provision to capture the information of the pre-existing illness. So that is one where we can find out what are the percentage of the comorbidities which have a different or severe outcome from the COVID. But definitely there are national surveys as well as sub-national surveys. I'm talking about the National Family Health Survey as well as this kind of National NCD Monitoring Survey, even the Global Tobacco Adult Survey. where there is an opportunity where you can include certain questions related to the COVID and their outcome in the subsequent survey. And it has been started. I will just share in the Global School Health Survey, an additional module for the COVID related has been introduced, which talks about the awareness level of the COVID appropriate behavior among the children. So similar kind of questions or things can be introduced in ongoing national health surveys, or even to say other surveys, to find out what is the association or vulnerabilities due to this NCD risk factors to the COVID outcomes. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good way to go about it, and especially now that the statistics are changing every now and then, there is much role for triangulating evidence from all these surveys at national, international, subnational levels. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you for that very insightful presentation, and also for taking up the question and explaining. Thank you. I shall now go to Dr. Abhishek for his inputs on the India Hypertension Control Initiative. Clearly, that's a highlight in India's approach to hypertension. We did a webinar a few weeks back, and there we took inputs from Punjab, Maharashtra, and Karnataka from the NCD program officers, and IHCI came up in a big way. And we've been talking to NCD officers and researchers across the country. Everyone is like IHCI, IHCI. So I request Dr. Abhishek for his experiences, for sharing his experiences related to IHCI, continuity of care during the COVID-19 pandemic in India. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Archisman, and thank you for inviting me for this webinar. Very important webinar on the day of the World Hypertension Day. Thank you, and good morning, everyone. So I will give you the overview of the India Hypertension Control Initiative on the day of the World Hypertension Day, and this is the one of the very innovative program which was launched in November 2017 by Government of India, Ministry of Health, and jointly by the Indian Council of Medical Research, and with support from state governments, WHO India, and Resolve to Save Lives as a technical partner. And this is the program strengthens the hypertension treatment component of NPCDCS national program, and this is the program under the national program of Government of India. And initially, this was implemented in 25 districts of 5 states of Punjab, Maharashtra, Telangana, Madhya Pradesh, and Kerala. And now, based on the initial success of this program, Government of India, Ministry of Health, ICMR has decided to scale up program to 100 districts across all the states of the India, which is in process. If you see this green color are the phase 1 states where we started the program in 25 districts. These are the dark blue where the program is already initiated in the select districts, which was selected by the state governments in coordination with the national NPCDCS team at the Ministry of Health, and now the plan is to scale up program in this light blue color, where the Rajasthan, Gujarat, and northeastern region, and Odisha, and some northern states. So we are in process of scaling up the program, and there is a program governance committee by the Secretary Health and DG ICMR at the national and state levels, and there is this all strategies are based on the WHO HEARTS package. So as of now, we have initiated the IHCI in the 14 states in 65 districts, and more than 1 million patients registered and put on treatment. And this includes more than 5,000 of health facilities, from health and wellness center to district hospital. From 18th of January till December 2020, more than 1 million patients registered, and it has gradually increased. And these are the states which have the phase 1 and phase 2 states where the patients are being registered and put on treatment. And as Dr. Archisman has mentioned about the COVID impact of the COVID, it is very clearly see this curve going down. So registration of patients going down, and this is during the lockdown after April, we have seen that the registration of patients has gone down across all the states and gradually started increasing. And in the later slides, I will show the impact of the wave 2 of the COVID on this program and the overall cities. So if you see this, the hypertension control. So district-wise, it ranges from 17% to 76%. So the good thing of this program is monitoring the hypertension control of registered patients on monthly, quarterly, and annual basis. And there are challenges in some districts. Some districts are doing the good practices. So this is in process, and the hypertension control rate ranges from 17% to 76%. And if you see this overall hypertension control rate in terms of the annual hypertension control rate and in terms of the estimated hypertensive, they count the estimated hypertensive more than 45 lakhs. This includes public sector and private sector both hypertensive patients, which are estimated by the surveys. And the number of patients who are under BP control is 2,18,340, which are registered under the India Hypertension Control Initiative program. These are the number of patients on BP control, and these were the number of patients on BP control in 2019. So if you see that there is an increase in the overall annual hypertension control rate also across all the states where the program is being implemented in the phase 1. And this is accounted, denominator is accounted for the overall hypertensive, estimated hypertension patients in the district where the program is being implemented. So this is a district-wise. If you see this district-wise where the program is being implemented, so there is an increase in the annual hypertension control rate. So if you see the Peddapalli, it's increased from 2% to 9%. So overall, across all the district, there is the increase in. This shows that as you improve on the health systems, as you improve on the basic components of the healthcare and access to healthcare is provided to patient will start coming to the health facility, government, public health sectors from the private sector. So that is one of the good learning from this program. And as we move on, this can support the other NCD cares also. If you see the overall treatment outcome of the patient registered in measured in the January-March 2020. So these are the 5 phase 1 states. So it ranges from 32% to 66% of the blood pressure control. There are patients who are in the yellow. If you see, there are these patients are visiting the health facilities. They are being given treatment, but the blood pressure is not controlled. So there are chances of treatment inertia or other factors when the compliance of the drugs and the patients taking the drugs or not. So there are many other factors which program is already evaluating. But the one thing is the challenging factor which we have faced in this program since the beginning is the patients put on treatment miss visits. So earlier we used to see that Punjab had a miss visits of more than 70%. So as the program has improved in all the aspects, all the 5 essential components of the program. So the drug procurement and drug distribution has improved, and the drug are made available at the health facility. So by this one important component, the patient started visiting the health facility, and miss visits had gone down from 70% to 48%, and the recent quarter it has gone down to below 30%. So this is across all the states, where as the 5 components of the program has been improved, strengthened, the missed visits has gone down, and patients are more coming to the health facility on regular basis for the treatment. But if you see this, more you decentralize the program, more you decentralize the care of NCDs or chronic care, so more the outcome is better. So if you see this primary health care, out of the blood pressure control, 46% patients are blood pressure control who are taking care at the primary healthcare level. At the health and wellness center also, it is more than 40% patients are on BP control. So more you decentralize, more the patient care, patient adherence and blood pressure control is more, and outcome is better. So if you go to the district hospital, the blood pressure control is 35% and dropout is more. So the recommendation is that if you register patient at the higher health facility, transfer the patient to the health and wellness center or the nearest PSC or nearest health and wellness center. From there, patient can take the longer treatments. If you quickly see the impact of the COVID-19 second wave, so there is a, if you see this, there was a dip in the first wave, lockdown period and the first wave. Then registration of patients gradually increased, and from March to April, this is April. So March to April, there is a big dip of the patient registration. So this is the impact of the second wave of the COVID. that also affects in the phase 2 states. These are the phase 1 states, these are the phase 2 states, where also there is a dip in the registration impact of the COVID-19 second wave. This also impacted the follow-up of the patients. So in the April, if you see Punjab, Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh, we rapidly analyze this data because we have a real-time data and we can analyze this data through this program on a real-time basis. So there is a dip in the follow-up also, and patients have not stopped coming to the health facility. So what we have done for maintaining the continuum of care in the first lockdown last year, 2020, we have very rapidly re-strategized the India Hypertension Control Initiative plan and moved the drugs to the health and wellness center. And as the ISCI has the line listing of all the patients registered under the ISCI, so these drugs could have been was very quickly distributed to the patients at the household, or patient could have collected the drugs from the health and wellness centers also. And we have covered around 40% of patients in very short duration of time. So there is 40% of patients could avail the drug for extended period, 2 to 3 months. So they do not have to come to the health facility every month, because under ISCI 30 days drugs is being dispensed at all the states. So but in this scenario, the patients were dispensed 2 to 3 months of drugs. So this was the good learning from the ISCI and from the first wave of the COVID and lockdown, and that is how we maintain the continuum of care during the lockdown of the previous year. So how I will just brief you on give the overview of that, how ISCI is strengthening the health system. This is very important, and there are 5 essential components of ISCI. Standard treatment protocol, simple and standard treatment protocol. Regular medication supply, task sharing and team-based care, digital information system, and patient-centered care. So based on these 5 strategies, ISCI is strengthening the health systems also. So the key strategies, as I have mentioned, evidence-based treatment protocol. All the states have the simplified treatment protocol at the primary care level. So till the primary care level. So there is the state level treatment protocol, which is applicable till the primary care level. Access to essential medication and technology. So we have streamlined and the forecasting and procurement of hypertension drug, and that has also improved the forecasting and procurement of diabetes drug also. Patient-centered care, as I mentioned, the decentralization of patient follow-up and drug dispensing and teleconsultation services. This has really worked for the ISCI, and this can work for the other NCD care also. Team care and task sharing. So develop the capacity building of all types of healthcare providers and for the patient treatment and the follow-up. Systems for monitoring. We have established the cohort monitoring system. This is very important. And there are the states which are using the paper-based also, but most of these states are using the digital simple app for ISCI, which is a real-time data monitoring and data entry tool. But the cohort monitoring has been very useful to monitor the progress of the program and the outcome of the patients. And of course, lastly is the supervision and reviews. So we have WHO has provided cardiovascular health officer and medical professionals and the non-medical senior treatment supervisors, and they visit the health facilities every month, and they provide the supportive supervision, to the health facilities and on the job trainings, and also they facilitate the meetings and generate the monthly, quarterly, and annual reports and discuss the reports at the district, state, and all other levels. And at the national level, as a team, as a focal point, I discuss and present at the national level to all the monthly, quarterly, and annual reports of the ISCI, and which has been very useful for the program. So this is a sample of the treatment protocol. So Punjab, for example, Punjab is using 3 classes of drugs. Calcium channel blocker, amlodipine, starting with the 6th step of the drug dispensing. So how you titrate the drug based on the BP measurement. So starting with the calcium channel blocker, then adding telmisartan, adding ARBs, and then adding blood pressure not controlled, then adding diuretics. And so this has been very, if you go into the budgetary part also, overall it is less than around 250 or 275 rupees in the annual expenses for the government if patients has been put on treatment for a year on all 3 classes of drugs. So for Chhattisgarh, the expert committee has decided on the calcium channel blocker, and they have added enalapril after that, and then again giving amlodipine 10 mg, and then again they have added diuretics. So this is how the standard treatment protocol all the states are using, and this is all decided by the experts of the states, and this has been used very efficiently and effectively by at the PSC level medical officer also. But there are challenges of the treatment inertia at some levels. So how the program has improved the availability of the drugs? So through ISCI, the estimation of requirement was based on the expected patient load. So tool has been developed, and it is a real time and actual estimation of the drugs were made from the health facility level to the district level, and then ensure the adequate budget allocation through NHMs for hypertension drugs. And now it is being done in many districts for diabetes also. Capacity building of the program managers and pharmacists is being done by our CVHOs and the national team. Monthly reports highlighted facility-wise drug status, redistribution plan, rapid movement of stock from the one place to other place based on the requirement of the drugs, and ensure at least 90 days of drugs availability till the health and wellness centers, so that drugs stock out is avoided, and at least 30 days of drugs are dispensed to the patient. Patient do not have to come to the every 7 day or every 14 day. In chronic diseases, 30 days are dispensed, and patient come after 30 days for the BP measurement, and accordingly, if required, medical officer titrates it. This is the slide which shows that from 2017 to 2020, these are the states how this program has improved the first line of drug, amlodipine, and this is applicable to the second line and third line of drugs also. So the drug procurement has increased based on the actual calculation. And now the overall consumption is based on the patient load. So that is how the states has developed, and states has streamlined the process of drug procurement and made drug available at the all health facility level. So decentralization of India hypertension control services to the health and wellness center. You see that the ISCI services are decentralized to more than 3,000 health and wellness centers, where the districts where we are ISCI, and this is data till December 2020 from 4 states. So this is how the number of health facilities, health and wellness centers implementation increased in the due course of time. These are Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Punjab, and Telangana. So now the program is more decentralized, and more we see the patient care and the blood pressure control rate and outcomes, more better outcomes. So team-based approach and capacity building. So if you see that medical officers, staff nurse, pharmacists, all are trained at all level, all states based on their as they are posted in those districts and those blocks and health facility. So these medical officers, staff nurse, and pharmacists are trained, and the sensitization training is ongoing process, and there is on-job training also, which are provided by our CVHOs, cardiovascular health officer, and the senior treatment supervisors while they visit for the supervision visits. And these are the frontline workers, ASHA, ANM, and other frontline workers, those who are trained by the CVHOs and STS for the ISCI and for ISCI care and services. So this is the cohort monitoring in real time. This is the dashboard on the Simple app, digital Simple app. You can see that this is a district Sindhudurg. I'm giving a snapshot of one of the district. You can just monitor the trend line of the blood pressure control on monthly basis. So monthly basis the trend, and this can be accessed by the CHOs at the health and wellness center, medical officers at the PSC, staff nurse at the PSC, and program officer and program managers at the district level, and state program officers, state NCD officers at the state level. So these are the dashboard which is giving the real-time picture of the blood pressure control, and these are the real-time picture of the patients on treatment. They are patients coming to the health facilities, but blood pressure not controlled. So these actions can be taken very rapidly, very quickly. Some measures can be taken, and this is the quarterly report of the cohort trend. So if you see that Q1, Q4, Q1, Q4 2020, Q3 2020, you start from here, Q2 2020, Q3 2020, Q4 2020, and Q1 2020 blood pressure control rate. You can see the trend of the blood pressure control rate on quarterly basis also, and the patient missed visits and patient on treatment but not controlled, on the trend can be seen on the quarterly basis also. So this is the one of the very good features of the cohort monitoring and on real time basis, and data is entered by the staff nurse at the health facility level, and the designated person, and the CHOs at the health and wellness centers. So on the Simple app, this is the picture of the Simple app, and this Android-based app, very quick. There is a BP passport with QR code. This can be scanned, and the details of the patient will come on the screen. The past BP measurements, past treatments, and even the blood sugar measurement, blood sugar recordings, and treatment for the blood sugar also, diabetes also. This will come quickly very rapidly on the screen of the mobile app. So this is very quick and simple, real time. This improves the documentation and retrieval of the BP during follow visits. And this takes 1 minute for new registration and 30 seconds to retrieve the registered patient's information. And these are being used at more than 6,000 health facilities in 36 districts from 10 states. Now it's increasing as the program is increasing. The number of health facilities, number of districts, number of states are increasing. And more than 500,000 patients are registered through this app, because some of these states are using the paper-based also. So some patients like Kerala, Telangana, those are the states that are using paper-based. Those patients are registered on the paper-based also. And through this Simple app, the teleconsultation services can be provided. And this is based on the Government of India guideline for the teleconsultation services. And users are program managers, doctors, nurses, pharmacists, CHOs, ANMs, and patients. So patients can also scan the QR code, and they can retrieve their own data. If they visit to some of the other healthcare facility, they can retrieve the data and show the doctor that these are the treatments which we are being given since last 1 year, 6 months, whatever. So this is the monitoring and supervision visits. As I mentioned, that the WHO has provided cardiovascular health officer and senior treatment supervisors, and they visit the health facilities almost every month. All health, and this is I'm giving the snapshot how the monthly reports are generated and shared with the district program officer and medical officers at the PSC for the health facility level. For the district level, this is shared with the district health officer, and also we generate based on all the districts of the states. We generate a state level monthly report, which is shared with the state program officer and MD and HM at the state level, and then through this we generate a national level monthly report, which I share at the national level at the Ministry of Health and the ICMR. And monthly reports are prepared and shared. So these are on the regular basis, and this has really been very useful for the action, very quick action to be taken for the improvement of the program. So what are the challenges? I have mentioned missed visits. So patient put on treatment, but follow-up is not there. So we have faced this in the initial wherever we initiate the program, any state. This is the one major key challenge we face, that patient on treatment, but due to some of the other issues, patient do not come for the follow-up. As the program components improve, program essential components improve, patient start coming to the health facility. Treatment inertia, as I mentioned, especially in some of these states where the patients are put on treatment, but the BP is not controlled. Mostly it has been seen that treatment protocol has not been followed. Opportunistic screening. So there is no 100% of opportunistic screening. As I mentioned, I just want to share that the patients who are coming to the health facility, adult patients 30 years and above coming to the health facilities, their BP are being measured. If they are diagnosed with the hypertension, they are put on the treatment as per the medical officers and per treatment. So opportunistic screening needs to be strengthened. Dedicated staff nurse at PSC level. Wherever we have seen, like Telangana is one of the example where we have seen that there is NCD corner, there is dedicated staff nurse at the PSC level, the blood pressure control rate, the registration, so all the indicators show the better outcome, whether there is no dedicated NCD staff nurse, especially at the PSC level. Poor documentation in context of COVID risk, we have seen that, and there was no documentation. so that we have faced, and this has been a big challenge in the previous wave, and now also we are facing the same challenge. Health staff being repurposed for the COVID. Difficulty in paper-based documentation with number of patients, as we have mentioned that there are some of these states like Kerala, Telangana, Madhya Pradesh, they are using the paper-based. So there is a difficulty, and especially in the COVID context of the COVID, it is difficult for the retrieve the patient's data and complete the documentation. Lack of systems for procurement and distribution of Medicaid drugs, that has been a challenge, and this challenge is especially in the new states where the program is going to be implemented or is being has initiated recently. Low priority to NCD at the state and district level. We have also note that the priority has been low for the NCD at all levels, and lack of epidemiologists at the district level for NCD program. So there is a if we have a more epidemiologist placed at the district level from the government, at the state at the district level, any NCD care program, any chronic disease program will improve and have a good outcome. So what are the way forward? So always build the capacity of program managers, health workers for NCD care. As I mentioned in the ISCI, we are doing this. Enhance the data usage for timely action. Keep on analyzing the data for timely action. So that is how the program monthly, quarterly, and annual data cohort monitoring has been very useful for us, and this we are going to implement in the new states also. Support HR planning for dedicated staff nurse for PSC level for NCD services. This is one of the most important point, and this is where there will be NCD corners, NCD staff nurse at PSC level, more the decentralization care will be strengthened if these NCD nurses are placed at the PSC level, although they are there at the CSC and district level, district hospitals in the NCD clinics. Continue efforts to maintain adequate availability of protocol drugs, streamlining of the drugs. So that is very important, as we have done for the 5 states. The ISCI is doing for the other new states where we are implementing the program, but this is for all the NCD care to maintain the adequate availability of drugs for all NCD cares. Increase coverage of decentralization for hypertension management. So as we move on, the coverage should increase. More patients should come from the private sector to the public sector, or public sector can be looped for the ISCI services also. Use of digital application and teleconsultation. This is very important. And as we more digitalize the data entry, as we more digitalize the real-time data analysis, and the more rapidly the program can be improved. This is for any program, and we have done this in the ISCI. This is one of the best practices what ISCI has been doing. And teleconsultation services, we have started the teleconsultation services in the last lockdown, where the users gradually increased, but the users dipped down when the lockdown, when the COVID situation was almost normal, and patients started visiting the health facility. Now again, the need for teleconsultation is there in the second surge of the COVID. So as we strengthen the teleconsultation services across all the time, this will be a very useful component in any pandemic situation. Countermeasures as surge of COVID cases to maintain continuity of care. That includes the extended drug refill from health and wellness center and PSC and doorstep drug delivery. So this is one of the major component in this pandemic and the second wave of the COVID, where we can provide the extended drug refill from the decentralized way, from health and wellness center or drug out the doorstep drug delivery. And this will be very useful for the continuum of care and patient care. And of course, and again, the patient will not come to the health facility in a very short turnaround time. So more the extended refill, more the patient will get time to contact the health facility, and more the chances of getting infection will be less. So this can be the ISCI is planning to do this, and we are in process of doing this in current wave also under the ISCI program, and all states are supporting in this aspect wherever the ISCI is being implemented. But this will be very useful for other NCD cares also, as rapidly this can be planned. Improve referrals of suspect patient detected under population-based screening. So as Dr. Pradeep has mentioned about the population-based screening, there's a very good number of population patient screened under the PBS of the Government of India program and state government. So as the patients are detected, they can be referred to the PSCs more and more patients can put on treatment as after diagnosed with the hypertension or diabetes. Guidelines and procurement of validated blood pressure apparatus. That is the one thing where we need there is a huge scope of developing a guideline and make a very systematic procurement of validated blood pressure BP apparatus, so that blood pressure measurement is one of the key components when you diagnose or when you do the follow-up and when you titrate the drugs. So as good you have a validated BP apparatus, blood pressure apparatus, more accurate will be the treatment and the diagnosis. Promote adoption of the ISCI best practices, not only in the 100 districts, beyond that, so that other NCD outcomes also improves based on the India Hypertension Control Initiative best practices. Over to you, Dr. Artis Man.
Thank you, sir. That was very comprehensive. We as public health researchers many times do not get a full picture, and especially updated one for IHCI. And despite the pandemic, the trends that you showed and the type of data management and all, it's really enthusing that despite taking a hit, the program has been able to spring back. Couple of best practices, I would say, that some way a validation that we can still provide for our public, our people, especially with an increased and more aggressive detection and drug provisioning for them. Also very exciting that it's not just about retaining the client within the system, but also diverting from the private sector and attuning our primary care treatment protocols according to the state's resources. So some very good learnings coming through the pandemic. Now, one thing is that clearly this advanced drug provisioning to the people reduces their need to come back quickly to the system. So turnaround time can be reduced. They can stay at home and be less exposed to COVID-19, to SARS-CoV-2. But there are supply and stocking issues over there. What are the pros and cons that you foresee with this advanced drug prescription, especially 90-day prescription for those with hypertension?
Thank you for this question. As we see our community care, so as for the NCD services, for the chronic disease care. So, for example, hypertension. If the patient is under BP control, you can provide the extended treatment for 2 to 3 months. So that patient should not come for the health facility, maybe in the COVID situation also, or not in the COVID situation also. So patient visit to health facility reduces and treatment adherence increases, and of course, once the blood pressure is in control, patient need not to come to the health facility every month. So they can be at least tried. I will give you a quick example. When this program started, we have found that many places only 3 days, 7 days, 10 days drugs were given. Patient at the health facility, patient was supposed to come for after 3 days, after 7 days. So you can just imagine that how many times patient has to come for the care and for the treatment at the health facility. So, but once the blood pressure is under control, so what we have decided in the previous time that let's start with the 30 days. At least give 30 days of time to the patients to come back to the health facility, and let's see how it works. So that has given the lag time of the planning, lag time of the government, states to plan for the drug distribution also, and to mobilize the drugs to the district, to the health facility level. So this 30 days treatment was very effective. And now we have seen that once the blood pressure is under control, this can also be extended till the 2 months. Only the patients who are at the risk, but the blood pressure is very high, more than 180, more than 100 or more than 110 diastolic, more than 80 systolic and more than 110 diastolic. Some examples I am giving. So the risk patient need to come to the health facility more frequently, but the patients who are diagnosed with hypertension and under control on the drug, they can be given the extended prescription, and that can also protect the patient to come into the health facility on frequently. And that will also, a very important component is that this will de-burden the health facilities. So more the patients will come frequently, this will put the burden on the health facilities, maybe health and wellness center, PSCs, district hospital. So more you de-burden them, more will be the care will be more appropriate. So this can be worked for the hypertension. Other disease area can also have some planning on this, but this needs to be taken based on the scientific analysis and scientific recommendations.
Yeah, so that's very thought-provoking, and especially when we are now getting more and more cases of COVID-19 from rural India, and access has always been a problem. This almost like a doorstep delivery of drugs, and then of course everything has to be risk stratified, and already that stratification is there. Some monitoring may be needed for control, but then from the data we see that we have good control rates when things are decentralized. So thank you so much, sir. Very nice presentation. And
thank you, Dr. Ashish Mann. I will just add one thing for the audience, for the program managers. So be ready for quick planning. So that always works. So be ready for change and be ready for quick planning. So once you do a rapid planning based on the data, so everything has to be a data driven. So make the data available, analyze the data, and rapidly plan. So that will really work in the field, and especially in the community level at the health and wellness center at PSC. Thank you. Thank you. Over from my side.
Thank you. So data-driven action, some feedback loops at the local level, and also capacity for NCD management among program managers, dedicated staff, having a nurse at the PHC level may help. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Going to Professor Kansal, madam, I invite your overview, your remarks, having listened to the discussions, to the presentations, and of course, all the background triangulation that you've done.
I must say that it's the best way to celebrate this World Hypertension Day. And thank you, Ashish Mann, and many thanks to Dr. Pradeep and Dr. Abhishek for sharing valuable findings on the various important aspects of the NCD, especially hypertension. And as we all know, hypertension is the most important risk factor and most important NCD also. And I'm pretty confident that our all kind of audience, starting from academicians, policymakers, students, younger faculty, will definitely benefit from this presentation. At the end of this wonderful discussion, I just want to highlight very basic facts, which we'll all know. And just to remind us on this very day, that we have observed the dramatic epidemiological and demographic transition in past 2 decades, and now the focus is shifted from the MCS services and communicable diseases to non-communicable diseases. That poses the double burden on the healthcare delivery system, and which is further fueled by this pandemic, especially in reference to the non-communicable diseases. And very basic fact that fortunately 70 to 80% NCDs are preventable just by addressing risk factors, just creating awareness, just doing clinical screening and the community-based screening and advocacy by us. We should utilize each and every platform for the advocacy. And for today's World Hypertension Day, the theme is given by World Health League: measure your blood pressure, control it, and live longer. That focuses low awareness, especially in low and middle income countries, and very importantly, accurate measurement of the blood pressure. That was highlighted by Dr. Abhishek. Utilizing this opportunity as a part of the project activity, we are releasing this fact sheet on hypertension and the data facts taken from the LASI report, mainly containing the gender-wise prevalence, and gender issues in terms of the inequity in the treatment, and very importantly, the continuum of care. For me, my views are slightly differ as stated by Dr. Abhishek. The continuum of care started from the family's knowledge of the NCDs or the disease or the risk factor, then health worker, then sub-center, then APCA, higher centers. So this is, for me, this is continuum of care, right from the family to the higher center, tertiary care center. Once again, I am really thankful to both the panelists for wonderful discussion, for sparing time, especially key message, data-driven action. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. You summarized it so nicely.
One last message. World Health Day 2013 the message was know your numbers. And
Yeah.
I would request our audience that the data shows that most of us are still unaware about our blood pressure status. So I would request all the audience to go and even if the blood pressure machine is available at your home, please measure it, and if required, take consultation from your nearest health facility. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes, so as sir has highlighted, and also as the theme is, measure your hypertension, and of course, eventually live longer. I also take this opportunity to thank our panelists, Dr. Pradeep and Dr. Abhishek, for sharing their experience and insights. I may be moderating the session, but I am tremendously supported by my colleague, Dr. Kavita, and I must take this opportunity to thank her as well. Thank you so much. We had a very good deliberation on World Hypertension Day. I am very sure it will make the individuals that we are and also the professionals that we are more informed on hypertension. Have a healthy future. Stay safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.